Welcome back to this already the final segment of The Price of Business. I am your host, Kevin Price. Lots more to talk to you about. Great segment coming up here with my friend Steve Parkhurst. He's a senior editor at USDailyReview.com, which now, I don't know if you noticed, Steve, but we're now over 2,000 articles at USDailyReview.com. Really incredible, the kind of content that people are finding, updated regularly and, several times a day, and a true 24/7 news site is what it's becoming, and it's been fun to watch. One of the things that's also fun to watch is the vice presidential showcase, if you will, all the different candidates that are being considered. Steve Parkhurst, in addition to being a senior editor at US Daily Review, is also a political consultant, works with a lot of campaigns around the country, and I'm sure you too have been watching this a cavalcade of stars, as they would say back in the old days, for television that are being considered for VP. Welcome to the show.
Thanks. Good to be with you again.
Yeah, what do you think about this? What do you think about the current buzz, which Marco Rubio was really at a really very high pitch point there for a while in terms of almost inevitability, and then now all of a sudden it seems like a lot of talk is moving to Paul Ryan, the Congressman from Minnesota, and Christi from New Jersey all of a sudden, which I'm like, not Christi. He's basically a lumpy, grumpy, Trumpy version of Mitt Romney. We don't need that. We need something that brings true conservative credentials to the table.
Yeah, well, you said a whole lot there. Rubio was a hot stock for a while. He had a book come out late last month, and which I actually bought and read and enjoyed, and I still see him as very viable. The issue with Rubio that I think is interesting is that he keeps telling people he's not interested and he's not going to be the guy. So it's almost like, in a way, he's talked himself out of it. And in a different way, I think Christi has talked himself out of it. I think he has talked so much that he's just created so much animosity with certain people, with certain groups, that he will just be a lightning rod, especially with the teachers' unions. Not that any Republican is going to be safe with the teachers' unions, but there's antagonizing them, and there's just putting up a candidate that would be, lukewarm with the teachers' unions, et cetera. Paul Ryan is one of the names, and then the other name that I'm really hearing a lot about all of a sudden really is Rob Portman out of Ohio.
Oh, God. I purposely avoided that name. Rob Portman is just the kind of mini-me to Mitt Romney, and Pawlenty is, my God, I mean, I don't understand how these names are being put out there. If those are the approach, if either one of those end up on a ticket, I'm going to have a difficult time taking Romney seriously.
Well, I agree with you on both counts. I'm not excited about Portman or Pawlenty at all. I just think that they happen to be middle of the road, just plain guys that I don't think do anything. I think Paul Ryan and Rubio have to be the top two guys, and you could put them in any order. I think Paul Ryan, if this is going to continue, I think on your show probably 2 months ago, I said that if this was going to continue to be an economy election, meaning, jobs, economy, growth, GDP, things like this, that we needed a numbers guy, and Paul Ryan would be the guy. And a really good thing that I thought happened. And I don't know if you were up in Fort Worth. I didn't see you, but the Texas GOP convention, the second weekend in June, Paul Ryan was the keynote speaker on the main Saturday. And I kind of thought that was kind of like a testing waters type of thing for him, testing the waters type of thing, where, I thought they kind of wanted to kind of walk him out there in front of the biggest Republican gathering that you're going to have in any one state. That we have more Republicans in Texas than in California or Florida or anywhere else. He got a great reception. He gave a great speech. He kept it short, kept it, on topic, and I mean, he gave a typical Paul Ryan speech, and he really electrified that crowd. And so I saw that as a really good measuring stick, in my opinion, that he could be the guy. So again, for me, it comes down to either Ryan or Rubio, and everybody else is just kind of, it's kind of, enter at your own risk type of thing. If you throw these guys on the ballot, who knows what you're really going to get.
Yeah. I also heard a little bit of buzz, and frankly, I mean, you talk about someone who puts chills up and down my leg, to quote Chris Matthews, of Scott Walker possibly being on the ticket. I can't see, he has so much unfinished business, and he just got revalidated, if you will, as governor by a larger margin than he did. He got a larger margin in his recall than he did when he first ran, which I think speaks volumes about him. But, man, you got to admit, he could really excite things.
He could, and I think he would instantly. Wisconsin is a bit of a swing state, and that's something that you also have Paul Ryan from there, and that could help. Paul Ryan has never been elected statewide in Wisconsin. He's only been elected from his congressional district, but he's also from a Democrat congressional district. He was elected in a district that voted for Obama. So Paul Ryan does have a little bit of, let's say, a ballot stature where he does bring, some voters from the other side, and sometimes that's all you need, especially in a few key states. If you're talking swing states, a few thousand votes here, a few thousand votes there, well, that's a national election right there. But yeah, Scott Walker, I think there's so much unfinished business, and it would just be total hypocrisy, really, for him to be on the ticket. I like him. I could see him as a future presidential candidate, but just this year, after what just happened, all the money that was spent to get him reelected, I just can't see him abandoning ship at this point.
Yeah, the thing about Paul Ryan that I'm mindful of is who's the last VP candidate that was from the U.S. House? It was probably Jack Kemp, and actually at that time Kemp had already had a higher office. I guess technically speaking, he had been a secretary under Bush. So let's go back. Who would be? It would be Mondale's choice. Ferraro, and you saw how that went, and then you have William Miller, who was Barry Goldwater's. I mean, one of the problems that House members bring is they bring very little electoral vote clout with them, and it tends to be a little bit of a little problematic for them.
Yeah, I agree, and I hear what you're saying. I would counter with Barack Obama. I mean, it had been a long time since a senator had been elected president, and I understand there was a lot of, there was the hope and change, and there was a myth around Obama, and no real substance to what he had done or what he was saying, but he did get elected from the Senate. So, maybe we're in a different dynamic where now, there's a different, we have different media outlets, we have different media in general, a lot more information out there. So maybe it is doable nowadays.
Yeah. Now, of course, there's a little bit of buzz about the fact that, he had that little get-together, Romney did. I guess it was in Utah with potential VP candidates, and then Condoleezza Rice showed up, and apparently she stole the show. She does bring some interesting attributes to that. I mean, in terms of eloquent and intelligent, good luck with trying to make her come across as dumb. Although I'm sure the media would try to do.
Yeah, I think the media would. Here in Houston, she came and spoke at a book signing a couple years ago that I went to, and I found her to be incredibly dynamic, and it's kind of one of those things where she spoke for, 45 minutes to an hour, and before, you thought maybe she had been up there for 10 minutes, but she was just so good that you didn't realize you had been sitting there for an hour. I think she's great. I don't know, she would have the taint of Bush on her, so to speak, in the sense that, she would just have that Bush administration vibe to her, and I just don't, it might be too soon for that.
Yeah, another big problem with her is we have no idea where she stands on anything but foreign policy issues. And so, anyway, it's a great conversation. Steve Parkhurst, you can learn more about it at usdailyreview.com. Put in that name, Steve Parkhurst. Steve, thanks for being with us.
You bet. Talk to you next time.
Hope you all have a great rest of your day, and I hope you spend it right here on this great station.